Well, no, well, here's the thing. When you're drunk, you get lazy, so I just put them at my feet rather than pushing them a foot further into the alcove. So it's there now. Welcome to Spiritual Successor, a comedy video game design podcast where we take your lovely video game ideas from the internet, either from Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, and email.
Now, 2 of those were unofficial.
You got to guess which one, though. That's the game.
No, I can tell you, YouTube and Instagram. That's an interesting one that you slipped in there for once. I'm really not a fan of it.
Well, here's the thing. We are active on Instagram. Like every time we make a piece of art, it does go up on Instagram. It's just like...
Active is a very loose term for what we are on Instagram.
I have nobody to reply to. Nobody says anything. So, like, if people were, like, commenting, I'd be like, hey, what's up? Thank you for coming hanging out with us.
Well, we've never made the push for Instagram. Are you making the push for it now? Are we an Instagram-based podcast now?
You're right. Like, in our 69 nice episodes, you and I have
Wait. Is this 69?
Yeah, this is 69, dude.
Woo! Yeah, baby, we did it. Welcome to episode 69 of Spiritual Suck.
Welcome to this.
Well, hey, we don't need to recycle that bit.
Hold on, but bumping himbo tunes for your wild afternoons has sexual implication. I am gonna say
it was very good, but we did that, Jape, and we can move on to the next one because that's how funny and fast we are.
I mean, AJ, I don't know.
Those jokes aren't good anymore. Those are stale jokes. The joke suffers a week, dude.
They're stale jokes. It's like bad bread. You got to throw it out.
Unfortunately, yeah. Like, the joke won't land this week. We've already done it.
Well, this could be somebody's first episode, and they could be listening to you and I just arguing.
It's still a stale joke. Even if it's new to them, it's still bad. If I hand you 2-week-old bread and I say it's new to you, like, you're still getting shitty 2-week-old bread.
Yeah, but that's more bread than I started out with. You're a glass half empty kind of guy. I'm a glass there's bread in it kind of guy.
Check out my cup of moldy bread. Would you like some?
It's whatever. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in for episode 69. AJ, you want to give us our first game?
Yeah, I'll give us our first game submission.
Actually, really quick. How are you doing? How's your Hades run going?
It's going very good. Hades is still the only video game I'm playing right now, and it rules. I'm still loving it.
It's so good, dude. I'm so happy you got me into that, because like normally you and I play kind of different games a lot of the time, and
yeah, I play good ones.
Fuck you, I play good ones too. I'm playing Myst from 1999. Thank you. It's a good game, considered the best game of all time. Also,
it's like a million years old.
I mean, so is. I was gonna say so is your dick, but that just doesn't make sense.
My dick is a million years old. I got cursed by a witch, and now my bones from the waist down are so old. What are you?
I don't know. This is a bad joke. It was a bad joke.
It was a bad joke.
Whatever.
It was so bad I couldn't even run with it. You saw me stumble with that shit. Can you give me a different setup, please, so I can try to make a good joke on this podcast for once in our fucking lives?
AJ, you have made so many good jokes on this podcast. I think you're one of the funniest dudes alive.
Thank you. That's not something I can make jokes about. That's just the truth.
It's just a compliment. It's like, how dare you give me a compliment, man? I want to fucking dunk on you. Whatever. It's you know what? Try and be nice, and this is how you treat me. You know what?
This is not the place for that. That's not what we do here.
Maybe episode 69 is where we go our separate ways, huh? Where I start.
Oh yeah.
I start Spiritual Suck West. You start Spiritual Suck East, and that's how we do it. And it's just you and I alone talking about how much we hate each other.
Yeah, you know what? Episode 69 does give us a good point where we can now start thinking about, like, all right, where do we want this to go? Because you know, for a while now we've been working with the fiction of, you know, we're a game design studio. We have our key dev team. Like that's the fiction, right? But like now we can really start expressing ourselves. Now we can start taking some creative liberties. Maybe we do go with this direction that there's Suck East and there's Suck Bad, and they're both equally productive, but one of them's way cooler and way better, and the other one is hosted by Blake.
Well, shit. All right. Well, here's the thing though, AJ. I feel like I'm a little bit more all encompassing here because I take submissions from places you don't. So like everybody's just gonna start submitting to YouTube, and guess what? I got all the submissions now. You can't make funny ha-has if you don't have funny ha-has to begin with.
There will be a big difference in the amount of submissions that we're bringing, so they will be effectively 2 different shows. Which, maybe that's a direction, right? Maybe this great schism is the right move for us, just productivity-wise.
We'll brand it as the Suck Civil War. The Civil Suck War.
Ooh, Civil War is great for branding. Worked good for Marvel Comics 2 different times, and it worked good for America. That's what put us on the map. That's just branding-wise.
What do you mean that's what put us on the map? You mean put us on... Like,
no other countries were taking America like seriously until the Civil War happened, and then Marvel looked at that and they said,
200
we could do that for comics.
200-year-old Marvel was like, man, we could really do this for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm just saying that no branding opportunity is better than a Civil War. Look at Snickers. They did, or not Snickers. What's the one with the candy bar? And
Twix,
baby. Twix was like Twix Civil War, left versus right. So infighting is good branding, dog.
Infighting is good branding. All right. So you and I will be like
welcome
the Twix
to spiritual
factories.
Successor. Fuck Blake Ray. What if you and I were just mean to each other for an hour?
Just like you and I, just fucking screaming. just evolves into a bad episode of Joe Rogan.
God, you implied the idea that Joe Rogan would take a stance. People could go on Joe Rogan's show and be like, I think all people are bad and should die. And Joe Rogan would be like, that's very interesting.
It's very interesting. Yeah, you want to hit? Yeah, sure. All right.
Are you ready for a video game idea?
Yeah, we should. All right, that was a long Civil War. It lasted.
Nope, we're still going. Hey, Blake, it's the Civil War now.
Okay, so here's AJ. It actually turns out you and I on the side have been producing our own video game consoles. You have AJ's, the Xbox Series, AJ edition.
SUCCBOX.
AJ SUCCBOX.
Man, we really didn't think about what was going to happen when we branded ourselves as spiritual successor, did we?
The SUCCBOX.
The SUCCBOX.
You have the SUCCBOX S, and I have the SUCCBOX X. And then you and I, this episode, we're coming up with the games and just trying to figure out whose game goes to what console.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. We're going to do 2 nugs this week. We're going to do 2 nugs, one launch game for each box, and it's still going to be better than the real world we're in.
I mean, that's an easier name to remember than Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S. Did you hear about that? Like the influx of people who bought the current Xbox line because they were fucking confused. Yeah, there was a huge spike in sales for the Xbox like X or an S or whatever. And because a bunch of people mistook that for pre-orders of
the
new
Xbox
console.
Series XS.
Yeah, it's just the dumbest fucking shit in the world, and I want to capitalize on that because the SUCCBOX is the suckiest console in the world.
Yeah, I agree. The SUCCBOX X is the suckiest console in the world, unlike the SUCCBOX S.
I beg to differ. Does yours have haptic feedback? A full body haptic suit? I think not.
Mine has haptic.
AJ, real quick,
pending,
do you know what
joke pending?
haptic
Hold
is?
on, wait, joke pending. Mine has haptic predictive actions. My controller starts vibrating before you get hit. My controller, I'm on that Google Stadia shit. My controller presses buttons before you press them. They're like, oh, we know what you're gonna want to do.
Yeah, then what the fuck's point of playing the game, AJ? Everybody's like, I want to interact with something, and you're stealing away their interactivity. That's a pretty sucky console.
No, it's super good because all my internet, there's no lag because of the predictive things. Unlike the Xbox X, the SUCCBOX X's bad servers. So here's the first video game that I've got for the Xbox or the SUCCBOX Series S. I'm gonna mess that up every time I try it, I think.
At this point, I forget who's fighting for what. So let's say you're Xbox Series S and I'm Xbox Series X. Sorry, SUCCBOX X, SUCCBOX S is you.
There was a rough spot there where I had no idea what you were saying.
Well, that's because, the Spiritual Suck podcast is actually hosted on the same servers as the Xbox, as the SUCCBOX S, my competitor here. And as you can see, their internet is quite awful. So,
but this
AJ,
is why I've built predictive gameplay features stripped right out of Google Stadia system. I knew this was coming because of
because
of the
awful.
SUCCBOX's cool, predictive, forward-thinking process. We identified an issue and found a workaround because we are not fixing any problems. We are just adding on.
All right, AJ, give me the Xbox. Sorry, I keep calling it the Xbox Series. Fuck. All right, AJ, give me the SUCCBOX S's first game.
So the SUCCBOX Series S's first game comes from.
Hello, we have our first caller. He is the representative of the SUCCBOX S series, and he's here to tell us why his suck is better than my suck.
Do you think about the things that you have to say and the things that I'm going to have to make a jape about afterwards? Because I don't want to talk about how you and I suck different. So how far back do I need to go?
Can you give me the submission again, please?
Yeah. This submission comes from Calvin and Hobbies at Calvin and Hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
An RPG where you assist the characters of neglected video game franchises in getting a new one. Train Captain Falcon for a new F-Zero race. Help II overcome his claustrophobia for a new Super Monkey Ball. Or sharpen Pyramid Head's sword so they're ready for the next Silent Hill.
So, is this like a doctor game or like this
reminds me of this hit show, and by hit show I mean thing I have a fugue state memory of because it was one of those things that came on Adult Swim sometime between 2 to 3 a.m. and I would catch it because I fell asleep watching Bleach, and it was like, I'm kind of awake now, let's see what's on. Do you remember Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law?
Of course I do. I remember there was a great episode of it where the Scooby-Doo clones were being sued by the actual, Mystery Inc. Incorporated because they're like, hey, there's a bunch of fucking people who stole our stees and we want to sue them. So yes, I remember Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
I'm imagining an RPG similar to Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. A lot of visual elements of you trying to get old dead franchises back into the limelight. How do we rebrand Pyramid Head? Like, sharpening his axe isn't enough. He needs something else. Perhaps we sharpen his whole head, and his head is now the weapon. Perhaps Captain Falcon, he does need a new car, but maybe the car's too big. Have we considered maybe F-Zero on horses?
Wait, AJ, I have a way better example for this. Do you remember Nathan For You, where he would just show up to people's businesses and be like, I'm going to do this absurd thing to help get your company more money.
Like locking a TV behind a gator?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so mad that Nathan For You exists because you and I will never ever think of anything funnier than trying to get hundreds of TVs from Best Buy by operating a stunt where you try to say, oh, we have $2 TVs at our business. You have to get past a gator to get them. But then it's still taking full advantage of Best Buy's cool will price match anything process.
I think my favorite one, so the concept of Nathan For You is that it's a person with no business experience whatsoever goes to local businesses that are failing or trying to revamp themselves and presenting just obscure, not obscure, but just outlandish fucking ideas to make them successful. Two of my favorite ones is he went to a pizza shop and he's like, hey, we are offering something stupid amount of you could buy 2-for-1 deals on these pizzas, and they cost something like $3 for the 2 pizzas, and it'll be delivered in X amount of time. When the pizza delivery person shows up to the house and opens the full-sized pizza box, it's just a what's it called? A Lunchable sized pizza slice. and people got fucking pissed because they're like,
because
what
they
is
are
this?
full-sized
What is this?
pizzas. The size is just very small. They've only marketed that it is a full pizza.
Yeah, and then the other one is like you pay X amount for gas, but then you get like a 80% rebate. So I don't know if everybody knows what rebate means. Is like you pay the full price now, but if you send in a copy of the rebate, you actually get 80% of that cash back. And most people just don't really give a shit. So like the business often profits because not many people want to do their rebate. What he did though is the rebate box is on top of the biggest mountain in Los Angeles, and you had to hike up there and deliver it. So it became this whole camping trip. Nathan For You is just one of the fucking most like high concept what the fuck happenings ever, and it's
what
wonderful.
if Nathan For You was in charge of getting Beautiful Joe a new video game?
Okay. So this is like a Nathan For You sponsored video game service. So he becomes a character. Okay. So
we've taken Nathan For You. We've hit him with the Phoenix Wright Phoenixitonator, and we've lasered him into a Phoenix Wright-esque character. How's it going? It's Nathan For You. Now he's a 2D anime boy.
Okay, so Nathan For You is a 2D anime boy, and the backdrop to this series is Nathan For You's business. Like it's his business firm. So like every mission is a new character comes in, and you need to figure out an outlandish way of making them better. So what is the gameplay? Does it become like a Phoenix Wright style game where you go to their respective games and collect evidence or ideas that you can then...
It exists in a world much like Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, where like the fictional characters exist in the real world. And so what you have to do is you're introduced to a character and you have to go run around their target audience, right? Give me a good video game character that you think might need a new renovation.
I would love to revamp Dante's Inferno, primarily because the thing that he kept dealing with is everybody kept calling him a God of War clone. So his whole thing is he wants to revamp himself to be like, okay, I want to be my own brand new game, and if anybody says I'm like fucking God of War 5, I'm going to shit myself. So like that's
so what he would do is Nathan would then run around a little 2D, like, oh, there's all these little zones you can just walk through, and it's all visual novel-esque, but now you got to go in and talk to all of like a couple game reviewers of the Dante's Inferno, a couple audience people that claim that they like Dante's Inferno, and people that claim that they didn't like Dante's Inferno. And then Nathan For You comes back over to Dante from Dante's Inferno, not Dante Devil May Cry, and he says, okay, the problem that you had before is that your game was too similar to God of War, and people said that you felt like a God of War clone. Don't you worry, I have it. No one's going to call you a God of War clone ever again. I need you to dye your hair white, Dante from Dante's Inferno.
The solution
I need you to dye your
is-
hair white, and I need you to put on this
red
cool
trench
red
coat.
leather jacket. Don't you worry, Dante's Inferno. No one's ever going to compare you to God of War ever again. I fixed your problem.
And the next step is what I'm going to do is in every fight that you are in, I'm going to be standing off to the side with a megaphone, and I'm going to be screaming alphabetical letters depending on how good you are fighting. So this is going to be the
actual
way.
alphabetical letters, like a grade school scoring system.
And
so then most importantly, I will be saying nice things so as to not step onto any legal toes. Instead of saying, fuck yeah, I'm going to say things like friendly points, or I'm going to say things like a good day, or bet you could do better, buddy. And so I think that this is just the game. I think that what we're essentially going to do is we're going to take what you and I do normally, weekly, day in, day out, and let Nathan have a crack on it as a visual novel.
Okay. Awesome. And this is going to be one of the launch titles for the SUCCBOX Series S.
Yes.
So I want to give you a game for the Xbox that fucking fuck.
It's so bad. You know what I mean? Like, we run into this problem so much, parody is dead. So now, like, even our parody, we accidentally say the real thing, right? I totally understand. Why don't you go ahead and hit me with the SUCCBOX Series X launch title?
All right, AJ. So, for the launch title of the Xbox Series, for the launch title, the suck. God, I just can't say it. I've been playing too much Among Us. I was going to say the SUCCBOX, which, in all honesty, that is
what I'm going to be referring to as the SUCCBOX Series X.
The SUCCBOX.
The SUCCBOX.
The SUCCBOX. All right. So the first thing you need to get when you're launching a new game is you need to have brand. You need to have brand. You need to have a built-in audience. You need to have people that are just coming to see it for the people that are involved. So like, Ryan. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you need star power, right? You're saying that there's a reason why we're so excited about Halo Infinite, right? The game that's definitely launching with the new Xbox. I'm so excited about Halo Infinite. It's definitely not been delayed till God fucking knows when, because they would never do that to us. That's going to be their big seller. I'm so excited for Halo Infinite.
Please forgive me. I think I might butcher this. Ryan
Please excuse me, I might butcher this.
I'm trying. I'm so fucking sorry. I'm a fucking dumb.
Well, usually when somebody says, "Hey, I'm gonna butcher this," they go in and they just fucking, salt the earth and butcher through it. You're like, "I'm gonna butcher this," and then you still came at it and like, "I don't know how to start butchering it. I guess I'm just gonna hack it up on the top."
I'm sorry.
And then keep hacking through. Just, I want you. If you're gonna say, "Hey, I'm so sorry," just fucking attack it, dude. Don't
I'm trying. Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm trying. So
I'm saying, apologize that you're gonna slaughter it and then blast it.
Hold on. They gave a funny submission, and I want to talk about the funny submission. So at Vafa Ryan, a beat 'em up where you have to fight all of the deadliest actors in film history. So of course it has like the people that you would think: Mila Jovovich, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chow Yun-Fat, Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Kevin Costner, Wesley Snipes.
Who's Chow Yun-Fat?
Chow Yun-Fat, I believe, is a martial artist that if I remember correctly, they star in a lot of Jet Li movies, or they have their own line of action movies. I honestly, I apologize, I can't name any of them, but it's a name I am very sure I've heard before. You know what, like, the most surprising name on this list, though, is? And they're coming up at like 571 kills in their career.
Hey, Chow Yun-Fat's in Crouching Tiger and Hidden Dragon. Sorry, I wanted to get that in really quick. Okay. Who's the most deadly person?
Fuck it! Not the most deadly. The deadliest person is Mila Jovovich because of the zombie movies where she's just plowing through zombie after zombie after zombie after zombie. Yeah, she's fucking great. But Nicolas Cage is on this list at 571 kills in his career. Where the fuck did those kills come from? Because people say Ghost Rider, but in Ghost Rider, he kills like 10 people. Like, he just kills the devil's croonies.
He like destroyed an entire city of like cars and stuff in The Rock.
In The Rock? Really?
Yeah, there's like all sorts of kick-ass explosions in that one.
Okay, but is that something that he caused, or was that just something that happened accidentally? Because if I remember correctly, he's not the villain in that, is he? I thought he was like one of the agents. I thought it was like the other person that was the villain.
I haven't seen Con Air, but is it possible that he kills everybody in the end of that movie?
Yeah, but even like an airplane, I think only holds like a couple hundred people.
I haven't seen Wicker Man. Is it entirely possible that he kills that whole village?
No, it's true that the whole village kills him.
I haven't seen Witch Hunter. Is it possible that he kills all of the witches in the world in that one?
Oh fuck, that's right. Witch Hunter was a thing. Do you think
I haven't seen the fourth National Treasure movie? Is it possible that he killed everybody in America?
See, the fact is like when I look at Nicolas Cage, I'm not thinking like kill spree. Like I think of Wesley Snipes, and I'm like, oh yeah, he kills a fuck ton of vampires in probably the greatest action scene of all time. You remember the club scene where there's just the blood raining on top of everybody, and he's just fucking going to town, and how like. It's just like Matrixy and early like house techno and just
man, the Blade movies rule, huh?
The Blade movies rock, like they're amazing, and Wesley Snipes is so fucking cool. And also in Demolition Man, he's rad. Like Wesley Snipes has killed a lot of people. I think of Jet Li. Oh yeah, Jet Li's probably is fucked up a bunch of people. When I think Nicolas Cage, I don't think like outside of Face Off, I don't think action hero. I don't know. So this game is a beat 'em up where you have to Scott Pilgrim style, fight your way through each of these actors.
Okay.
So are you just like you're an up and coming actor and you want to be an action star, and your thing is that okay, to get the Hollywood contract you need to fight my seven evil action stars. My seven evil action stars. I think there's seven of them. Hold on, like
So you're trying to become the new Hollywood's new deadliest star. So you have to kill all of the other deadliest stars to get it and accrue their kill counts. This is No More Heroes a little bit.
This is No More Heroes. This is No More Heroes. Okay, there's 10 of them, so that's perfect. So like a nice even 10 action heroes. And I think I don't know how to say this, but Nicolas Cage does feel like a level 1 boss.
How's it going? Welcome back, Nathan Fillion. I'm also stealing your launch title. Nathan Fillion's going to come in and he's like, "Hey, Beautiful Joe needs a Beautiful Joe needs a redo, a reboot."
Hey, AJ,
you know what? This is nice because now the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X both have a little bit of Nathan Fillion.
AJ,
not Nathan Fillion.
I was just about to correct. I love you, man. You're so fucking, when you get in that wave, you're just passionate and you're just saying it like, yeah, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this. And then,
what's the name of the guy from Nathan For You?
Nathan
Fielder.
Yeah, Nathan Fielder.
Nathan Fillion's the voice actor, isn't he?
Yeah, he's also the actor in Firefly and Castle, and
that's right. He's the actor, not a voice actor. He's just a whole ass.
Oh, he does do voice acting. He does very good voice acting.
So, is it Beautiful Joe killing all of these people so that Beautiful Joe can be the new most powerful, deadly person in the world?
Beautiful Joe? Like
yeah, Beautiful Joe. The
so
beautiful
you're saying,
one?
oh, so you're saying this is like, that would be pretty bitchin' that the SUCCBOX actually sniped Nintendo Switch and was like, hey, we understand that this is like one of your properties and you had a lot of fun with it, but go fuck yourself. We're actually going to do it.
You're not going to touch it, so we will. And now Beautiful Joe is like, all right, I'm so sick of all of these bad guys. There will be no more murder in the cinematic utopia that I, Beautiful Joe, am about to create. We're done with violence. To prove this, I'm going to go kick the ass of all the deadliest movie characters of all time.
Shit, like that's
because
like
the first Beautiful Joe was a lot of monster.
Makes sense.
Yeah, the first Beautiful Joe was a lot of monster movie parodies, right? The man bat, Godzilla, but with an axe.
God, that's so fucking rad.
So now Beautiful Joe says, we're done with these bad guys. I'm gonna go kill Mila Jovovich. And by kill, I mean punch. Beautiful Joe would never do a kill.
Actually, you know what it could be? You know, like maybe, okay. Just like trying to think of story here. So it's been a while since we've had a Beautiful Joe game. He's not in the cultural zeitgeist anymore, but he's in
all of our hearts.
He's in our hearts, and we want him to come back, just like Firefly. So he is like trying. He's like, the game starts. He's like kind of down on his luck. He doesn't really have much going on for him. He realizes that hey, he can revitalize his career by becoming the Hollywood's next big action star. So he goes and he applies. He doesn't get it, and he's like, hey, it doesn't happen. So he defeats the people he defeats the action stars. He collects like their contracts. So if he collects all of their contracts, they just have to sign him. Something like that. Like they each have like a MacGuffin that's like, hey, if you collect all 10 of these things, you then become the biggest action hero. So it becomes a little bit something like that's how he's going to get signed to the Hollywood studio for his big action film.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Because
and this gives us this side scroller action beat 'em up that you were looking for. It won't have that 2D element of the Scott Pilgrim game as you previously mentioned, but it will have our fun platforming and jumping and backflipping and punching and kicking.
Dude, AJ, each one of them, because like Beautiful Joe operates like, I love Beautiful Joe because it's just so fucking meta, but like all of his powers are like editing powers. It's like, hey, we're gonna fast forward, we're gonna do a slow motion scene, we're gonna do what are some of his other powers that
he has like a zoom in, a slow time, a fast forward. But one thing I want to emphasize is all of these are tricks of the old times. These are old editing tricks, and old movies did zoom ins, old movies did speed ups, old movies did slowdowns. But you know what, like editing tricks we have nowadays that simply aren't being utilized enough in the Beautiful Joe meta narrative system?
The montage sequence.
the montage, the jump cut, the punch in, the out of focus punch in. Are you kidding me? Maybe you do. Maybe Beautiful Joe has a new ability where like everything goes out of focus a little bit, and when it refocuses, he's already kicked somebody's ass. The one punch that looked really bad was actually super good. You just couldn't tell because it was out of focus.
Also, shaky cam is a thing now. So like it's just like
cam.
there's just sequences where you kind of have to guesstimate information because just like it's like Cloverfield levels of shaky cam. It's like I think I saw something, but
you know that movie, the one with the superhero that's he's like blonde and he's got all the lightning powers and he says, "I'm the son of Asgard." Thor, thank you for helping me. I definitely didn't forget Thor's name. So Thor Ragnarok has that fun shot where like the villain's like sitting on top of a mountain and she's like, "I'm the most powerful person ever," and then like someone's like, "Who are you?" And then it cuts to a big wide and she's like super useless now because she's so tiny. The
so you can play with scale, like it's like when Mario
Joe's
gets
going
the
to have
big
more
mushroom
scale powers. Yeah, I want to pitch the idea that maybe Beautiful Joe has a little bit of like a Bugs Bunny Deadpool.
So
ability.
no. Here's the thing. So when he activates that power, he just walks towards the camera and gets bigger. That's like his whole thing. So he like sprints towards us, and then because he's closer
Beautiful
to the
Joe
camera,
is
everything
more
behind him seems
more
smaller.
powers.
Yeah.
More vlog style editing tricks.
Are we going to implement a selfie thing like they did in GTA? Or you just
How
you
would a
fucking take a selfie?
How would a selfie thing help Beautiful Joe out? I'm more than willing to do a little selfie cam.
Because social media power, dude, he's more likely to get hired. Like his power ups.
No. I'm saying how would that gamify, right? If the camera angle shifted to Beautiful Joe doing a selfie cam, what does that do for the game as a side scroller?
I think it would cut into like. I think when I view this game, it's not going to be like a flat 2D side scroller. It's like the Mario 3D World thing where it is a side scroller, but the world is 3D. So it could be just it cuts to an over the shoulder of him with a selfie. He's in the bottom left corner or whatever, and then like he can take a picture of whoever's behind him. It's the same. What's it called? Like the camera options from Wind Waker, from Zelda Wind Waker, where you can like take out the camera and do a selfie. And then you can like do that in the middle of a boss fight.
There's no real gamifying element here. It's just that you get to do fun selfies with Beautiful Joe.
There might be an I don't know. Like actually, I have an idea. And
this is how you get power ups. Like
no. Stick with me. Because I think power ups come from the boss battles. This is purely cosmetic. So what you do is during the levels you can take selfies and you post them to your social media and accrue a social media fan base. With every good picture you get, you actually get more subscribers or more followers. When you meet follower thresholds, you get fan mail. You know what's in that fucking fan mail, AJ? New outfits, new costumes, new fucking sweet gloves. So it's just like it's like how the Mario Party games do it. Is like if you the more faces you see in the picture, or the more there's going on in it, or better yet, Dead Rising. The more like detail and faces and action going on, the higher your points are, and each point represents a new follower. So like it motivates you to take selfies throughout the game and potentially put yourself in a hazardous situation.
I know how we would do fast travel in this game too.
How would we do it?
Sorry, the more I think about this, you know what the fucked up thing about Beautiful Joe is and why I think I love it so much and why you love it so much? It's this perfect encapsulation of like video game and like film like adoration, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. It's a love letter to film.
Maybe there's like a little bit of a Metroidvania element to this one, and you can have a fast travel system by like, you know how like 360 cameras, you can now do that like tiny world camera trick where like you zoom out from the 360 camera and it makes you look like you're on a tiny circular planet.
Yeah, on a little planet. Yeah.
Beautiful Joe's like fast travel to get you like to go back and replay levels would be like that. It would have a little Beautiful Joe running on a little circular planet.
You know, this what reminds me. It zooms out and becomes like the Little Big Planets. You know, like how you would.
That's very cute too.
Because like if I remember correctly, the first one is what you were on the little planet, and like in between each level would be like it would like give you that map thing, taking you to a new continent or something like that. If I remember correctly. so you're thinking something like, so it's like he does a sweet Power Rangers pose and it just zooms out and there it is. There's this little beautiful Joe planet.
And maybe these like new editing tricks that you and I are thinking about, like the jump cut or the montage, this would be how we do those Metroidvania things, right? Like you could play the game very classical, like an old school Beautiful Joe game, and he just has the old powers. But if you go back, maybe there's a path you can't get to unless you have the jump cut like ability unlocked, in which case then you would go back to a level and Beautiful Joe's like, I'm gonna have to destroy this whole wall, but it's gonna take a long time. Thank goodness I have the jump cut zone or the jump cut skill, and boom, the thing is gone and you can just move on.
AJ, actually, I have a really good idea for you, because I'm slowly going through the the new Mario 3D All Stars just dropped, and I'm going through like Mario 64 again. What if the base level is actually, when you pull out in between levels, or we can call our levels movies, you're actually in a movie theater, and each level or each movie is represented by a movie poster that you have to get sucked into. So maybe like and each movie.
Don't you worry? Canonically, the way that Beautiful Joe gets into movie land is by being jumping into the movie screen. So you would need to go into like different theater rooms, and then you would go into the theater room, and then you could jump into the movie screen, and then you'd be like, I'm in here to kill Mila Jovovich.
And each level has different like options, like like when you queue up a level of Mario 64, each world has a different layout for which star you want to get. So maybe we play it the same way, where it's like at each movie has like 5 different layouts. The boss is always going to be the action star of that movie, but the layout of that level getting to that boss is always going to be different. So like theoretically, there's going to be 50 levels to this game, because we have 10 action stars and 5 different ways to beat that boss.
Now, why would Beautiful Joe need to beat Nicolas Cage 5 times?
Just so you have more levels. You have more, like the same reason, like in Mario 64, each world has 10 different sub-worlds.
The idea of like every world has like 5 different sub-worlds or whatever, because like there's a point total for you to get to the next floor, right? Like you could get like 25 or like 20 or 30 stars on the bottom floor, because you need 10 to get to the next story. You need to have a certain amount of points before you can move on to the next zone.
Has there ever been
Are we going to have a system like that in Beautiful Joe? Does he need to have done enough scenes in order to move on to the next batch of movie theaters? Maybe he needs to do be in enough scenes and get enough points to unlock the next movie, so he can take on Sylvester Stallone.
Here it is, Jay. So each, like, there's going to be these 10 action stars, but I was thinking of it of like, each of these action stars got their kills over multiple movies. So like, say our first level, like our first world more specifically, is Nicolas Cage. It's like one level is going to be Face Off, another level is going to be a Ghost Rider level, and each boss has different abilities. So like Nicolas Cage in Face Off has way different abilities than Ghost Rider Nicolas Cage.
Every boss is in there 5 times. So every world has 5 levels. You run through it, you fight Nicolas Cage 5 different times with all 5 of his different movie powers. You get to move on to the next world. The next world is like Sylvester Stallone's world. You run through that level 5 times with
Rambo,
5 different Sylvester Stallone bosses. This rules so fucking hard.
It's actually like fucking, this is like, I'm actually wicked and excited to play this. Dude, we should fucking play Beautiful Joe sometime. I know it's on our Patreon, but I'm just thinking like, fuck it, we should just fucking play it, dude.
We should just do it early.
Just fucking do it early.
Do you want to move on to another video game?
Yes. All right. Hey, AJ, I gotta say, the launch title for the SUCCBOX Series X, I don't know, man. I think it might be taking the cake this round. Do you got a game that could beat it?
I think it might be taking the cake too, because I really like that idea.
It's super fun. All right, give me another game idea, friend.
All right, this submission comes from Philip K at Zaldine on Twitter.
What's
An MMORPG with really mundane jobs like cashier, sanitation staff, accountant, etc.
Might I recommend, actually, if you're Philip, because I know you and I talk on the Discord every now and again, I would super recommend, if you're looking for a game like that, there's this one Grimdark game called Zweihander, which does exactly that. Like, all of the classes are actually just like run-of-the-mill things. Like, you're a rat catcher, you're a delivery man, you're a boat driver or something like that. It's actually really, really, really fucking cool. So, but we're trying to take this in a more modern way, right?
My idea is, what if it was like the jobs aren't the classes. Like, what if there's like a full RPG element, but in order for you to like gain money in the in-game world, you do have to have like a normal job. Like, you would have like your big raid bosses, your dragons, your fantasy elements, but you do still have to go work at the fantasy Starbucks.
You know, honestly, now that I think about it, being an adventurer probably does not pay well. Because most of the time, unless you're like being paid by a village to go handle a problem, most of the problems are it's just goblins attacking things. They don't own shit that you can probably sell, right? So like, they gotta adventure and they gotta protect the town, but they also need to keep their job at Fantasy Starbucks. So is this like one of those games where it's like Moonlighter? I know that's like the one we always go back to, but I think it's like the best
I know.
game
I was about
that.
to say, I think we accidentally reinvented Moonlighter, but I want to go one step further. What I want to propose is a video game where you have like, I'm going to take a little bit from Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter has this whole system where like, in order for you to go into a hunt with your maximum health, you need to eat a full meal. And you just run over to the Grandmaster Chef, the really buff cat, or the sweet Grandma Chef.
Cat.
or Grandma Cat. And you just say, hey, cook me food. I need to get like a good meal in my belly so that I can go off and do this cool hunt with a full bunch of health. But what if that was another player that had to make your food? What if there was a little mini game and like players had to walk up and say, I'm about to go fight Bahamut, the killer of kings. I need a good meal. So you run over to the Fantasy Starbucks and you're like, one energy booster, please. And on the inside, a player that runs the fantasy or is working at the Fantasy Starbucks has to grab the items, put that together as like a little mini quest in game. They're essentially playing Diner Dash. They give you the meal. That player gets to go out and fight Bahamut.
So it's just, is it the constant like? Because the way I'm viewing this is a world that multiple people inhabit. So an MMO.
This is an MMO, a full MMO.
So is there a level of Deadly Premonition / Persona thing where like, hey, at this time you need to be here, and depending if you are there or not actually affects your gameplay. So be like, hey,
organizations will happen like that. I think that what we'll do is like the Starbucks that gives people their energy boosters and their maximum health. There are no NPCs in this world. There's only NPC quests.
Yes.
So there would need to be players that are there at the Starbucks working it, making sure that like you are doing,
and that's not the only job people can. That's not the only job that people can do.
There's going to be some store clerks, right? Like you can only buy clothes if you are talking to an NPC or a player character. I guess they're not NPCs; they would be SPCs, store player characters. And store player characters would need to actually run the shop, go grab the clothes from the back, bring them back towards the front, make them display so that a hero could come by and grab them. You could probably organize some stuff in game of being like, hey Blake, I need you to go run the store so that I can buy some clothes, and then
I
we
feel
would
like
swap
to
off.
make that interesting, it's got to be like mini games. So it's like each job presents its own mini game. So like say you're working Starbucks, it just becomes Overcooked. It's like, hey, some random adventurer came in and wants this order. You need to put those orders in before they legitimately get pissed off and leave. So it's like, so that, and then the store job basically becomes kind of Moonlighter, is like making sure things are priced right. And you know what's kind of crazy about that idea though, is if every interaction actually opens up a voice channel. So like, say you're working as the retailer and the person comes up and says like, hey, I need this. And then, you know what, dude, you know what can happen in this game? There's bribes, dude. Like, people can maybe like, hey, I understand this armor is like 400 coins, but if you let me just walk in and take it, I'll slip you 200. You know, you
I'll
personally,
slip
not
you
the
directly 200 and a mount if you let me not pay the 1,200 for this suit of armor.
Yeah, so like,
and then
there's
you're like,
actual.
I do want that special mount of the big chicken, the big fat chicken mount.
So there's like this whole level of like people like actually can be kind of seedy if they want to, and that I don't know, just the idea of being able to do that, and it just makes the game much more immersive to me.
So how would the shifts work, right? Is it a system where like you lock in your character? If you say like, oh, I need money, I'm going to lock in myself as an NPC. Does the game not let you go on raids until you've clocked in a certain amount of time working the Diner Dash game?
I think it's open, and honestly, okay, this is how you do it. This is the way you do it. Like, my dad likes to go fishing, and he's like, hey, he's like, hey, I gotta save up to afford this fishing trip. You can't go on a hunting trip unless you pay the fee. So like, hey, I want to go hunt this specific monster to pay for all the resources, the weapons, the the feed for the horses to get us to that location costs 10,000 gold. You either have to have made enough money on your last adventure to pay for your next adventure, or you got to put in the time and be an NPC.
Not to be that person that always references the same like 4 pieces of work, but this kind of ties into No More Heroes. So No More Heroes has a system where in order for you to move on to the next level, you have to have gained enough money doing a bunch of shitty little mini games so that you could pay in to go do the exhibition match with the next best assassin or whatever.
So we are literally.
So what we're doing is, if you want to take on the raid boss for, I'm running out of fantasy names. Can you give me a fantasy name really quick?
Zagar the Dragon.
So if you want to do a raid against Zalgar the Dragon, you do need to cash out 100 million gold pieces. How do you do you have that money? Probably not, unless you were working at Fantasy Starbucks for a little while, helping little adventurers take care of all of their little missions.
But see, that's where like the actual interaction with other players becomes really interesting, because you might be like, hey, I don't want to work these fucking hours. So like anybody who walks in, I'm going to be bribing them. Be like, hey, you see that thing over there? I'll turn a blind eye and then you could take it for 200 gold or whatever. But then you know what happens as a result? And it makes the game like just spread out into like an infinite amount of stories is, the person who owns that business might put a target on your head. So you might be in the middle of one of your adventures and suddenly you're being ambushed by mercenaries. So it makes your gameplay more complicated depending on how you handle yourself in the NPC area.
Punishments are run by actual NPCs, right? If you cheat out your job, an NPC will like end up punishing you. We've built that into the game. But there isn't like... So there are NPCs, they're just not seen. Everybody that you're going to run into is a player, even if they are a store clerk. There's no... maybe there's some quest givers, but they're going to be very infrequent.
Dude, this game actually fucking... Like, I would legit play this game. Okay. So... Is there a stink we want to put on this game, though? Is there like something? Does this affect you in real life, other than if you're working? It's like Animal Crossing in that way of like, hey, I gotta work a job in this fantasy game when I'm not working my real job in real life.
That's a good point. Would there be like a pay to win or pay to play system where like you could just like, you can either give us 10 million gold or you can just slide us a 20 and we'll let you go in.
that's the real bribe there.
That's where we're really gonna rake in the money, right? Is like giving people little paywalls that they could just play and grind out the money to like go fight the raids. But I'm really interested in this game where like the entire economy, like, and I want to make sure that it's stat boosts, right? It is the things that like you need when you go into a raid, right? It's polishing your armor, it's sharpening things to give you a little bit of an edge in the fight.
It's like D&D where you have to like, hey, this one monster is weak to silvered blades. I got to go take my sword in and they got to silver it for me.
Yeah,
things like that.
And it's repeated things. That's why I wanted to use Monster Hunter as an example, because every time you play Monster Hunter, you got to make sure you're full on potions. You got to make sure that you've eaten. You got to make sure that like your weapons are sharpened. Well, sharpening happens in game, but it's that idea of constantly making sure that you have your supplies.
Just constantly being prepared and grinding for that hunt, and the hunt's got to be fucking awesome.
But all of those preparations are done by other characters, other players. Building an actual self-sufficient economy within the game, or a way that people can just honestly, pay their way to play.
Honestly, you know what this really reminds me of? Because I've just been thinking about it a bunch, and I actually really would love to play it with you sometime, is Gloomhaven, because it operates off of the same thing of, like, depending on what you do in between adventures actually affects the economy of the town. So be like, in between adventures, your player characters are back in the town of Gloomhaven. Those that don't know, it is like considered one of the greatest board games of all time, because it's like an actual like campaign of D&D, but built without a DM. It's really amazing. Depending on like how you like, hey, you put in some time to put some repairs in for the church, or like the tavern, then now your characters have access to more items. So like it also rewards your characters
Ooh,
for
yeah,
grinding
loyalty
because
system.
it gives
If your character ends up like working at the Fantasy Starbucks all the time, maybe when you go in to order at the Fantasy Starbucks, the Fantasy Starbucks like, hey bud, you're gonna get a discount. You're gonna get your maximum health and your energy boosts on the cheap ski because you work here so often.
You get a free weekly, depending, like, say, hey, you put in your hours at Starbucks, you get this free item that only people who work at Fantasy Starbucks get.
You played 2 hours of Fantasy Starbucks this week, so you get the weekly. Now I'm gonna be like, hey guys, I know that we're planning this big raid here. I'm gonna go ahead and put in a couple weeks or a couple hours and a couple play sessions over at the Fantasy Starbucks and the Fantasy Costco, so that I can make sure that we've got some good stuff. And then you're gonna be like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm gonna go ahead and put in some time with the Fantasy AutoZone so that I can make sure that we have some decent primed mounts for rent. Like, we're going to go in there with cars, actually, for this raid, because I don't want us to get
our dwarven wooden motorcycles.
Because our normal mounts are too slow, but if I get these ones, we're going to have a much easier time in the raid. But I do have to put work in on this game.
I love that idea because that implies that you can also be a mechanic. You can be like, you can work at a dwarven car garage where they're just like hammering away and at just these massive behemoths of wood and metal and magic. I love that idea. I love that idea. Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. Holy shit.
And maybe that game people will like come in and say, hey, I need to rent a mount or like rent a car. And that mini game for the player is like the Banjo and Kazooie nuts and bolts. They actually get to build a little car and then give that to the player, and the player uses that car to drive around in the mount or as their mount in the mission.
Fucking God. Dude, actually...
My deal with this game is like, I want to give players a bunch of little tools that then affect gameplay immediately. The mounts are disposable, but built by players.
Yes.
The meal boosts are temporary, but built by a player. Your weapon upgrades are temporary, but your poisons are crafted by a player. You say, hey, I need to get my weapons poisoned. You go into the poisoner, the apothecary, and you're like, hey, I'm going to be hunting Zaldine. Zaldine is weak to like venom. So if you could just give me a lot of venom on this, that'd be a huge help.
You're hunting Zaldine, our dear submission giver.
Yeah,
that's their username. But see, okay. See, the one thing I also want to add into this mix is like, I forget the term that they are using, but it is a new thing in game design where it's like it keeps track of the history of the item. And they were
talking about blockchaining.
So like this sword that this person got on an adventure where they killed Zaldine the Mad Mage is now sold on the market. So like it'll actually have that moniker on the blade, so it makes the blade it's worth more. So like that could be
this ends. I almost want all weapons to be disposable too. I want every weapon to have like a gauge where it will break down. So so even like gear maintenance is something.
So Breath of the Wild
have to engage in
is what you're thinking.
Yeah, maybe the way it works is like your gear can level up. If you use the weapon and you kill a raid boss with it, then it's going to get a permanent perk, like a permanent little boost.
Yes.
Now it does still have a gauge and a breakdown counter. So at this point you're like, this is my special sword. I need to make sure that I'm maintaining it.
Yeah.
I have to take it down to the blacksmith and have a player play the little mini game to repair this sword so I don't lose it, because everything is disposable. That sword can break and break down and be destroyed, and then you'll need to go to the blacksmith and have them make you a new weapon. I love this
because there's also that implies that there's other ways to make a living in this game, because there could be like a player that's just like, yeah, I do the raids so I can all the weapons I carried with me now have that moniker on them, so now they're worth more. So it'll be like their grind is just doing adventures to sell weapons. They become like I don't know what you would call that, like just a trader, like a weapons trader, but they also are like honing their weapons in to give them more value. And
they run it down to the store and they talk to the store clerk player and they're like, hey, check this out. I've got this weapon with this boost on it. What's it worth for me?
Yeah. And then you can also, there's other players that like go out and hunt the monsters, but in those areas, there's certain vegetation and other things that they can collect and bring back with them. And they can also be like, hey, what's it called? Oh my God, AJ, Fantasy Starbucks, all of their ingredients are brought in by players. They're sold to them
Yes.
by players. So like there will be a actual stock of like, hey, we don't have this ingredient in stock until some random person brings it back in. I can't sell this to you. So like
Yes.
the stock and items of every single store, the stock and materials are brought in by the players who are out there adventuring. So like you are constantly working for this town and giving back to it and taking from it to so you can go do your adventures.
Fucking A, this game sounds so good, actually.
Hey, welcome to Spiritual Suck, where we sometimes make games that sound fun. Okay. Here, this is how we're gonna look at it. This is how we're gonna look at it, AJ. This game that you pitched is going to be the launch game for the SUCCBOX S.
Yes.
Beautiful Joe Action to Action is gonna be. Actually, there's another one. Action Attraction is going to be the launch title for the SUCCBOX X.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking would be super
We're thinking
fun.
is the nice thing is our two suck boxes come with two different styles of
Yes.
gameplay, right?
Yes.
The Suckbox Series S is much more about games as a
Social.
service.
That's
playing
why you
with your
call it.
social.
That's why you call it S. It's the social box.
Yeah, and the the Suckbox Series X stands
Is
for
the experience.
extreme.
Extreme.
Oh, experience is good.
I was thinking
actually-
experience.
the Suckbox Experience and the Suckbox Social.
AJ, a random idea. You know what the trailer for this week should be? Because everybody's launching their consoles right now. We should just do a fake console reveal trailer.
Let's do a console launch. Let's do two console launches.
Let's go get console launch.
What
Okay.
are we gonna call my cool MMORPG where you have to do an actual job?
Oh fuck, it's got to have like some cool fantasy name like Gloomhaven, Skyrim. I don't know, like you could take the Gloomhaven approach and it's just the name of the village the town that this all happens within. I don't know why this name is sticking out to me, but Greyspire is just kind of cool. I
That's
don't know.
fantasy as fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. Like you include Spire in anything and it's fucking bitchin', dude.
Oh, I heard Grace Fire.
Grace Fire?
Yeah.
Grace Fire. I don't know, man. It's your game. Like, what do you want? What do you want it to sound like? You want it to sound actiony? You want it to be like, or it's like, it like because there's Monster Hunter and there's is it Icewind? No, it's not Icewind Dale. Icewind Dale's the new D&D installment.
I would love to try to get the word communion in there or unity, something that kind of like sells the togetherness of this project.
Oh fuck, community or union would be pretty cool. Okay, here's one way of looking at it. What are the primary monsters you are hunting? Are they dragons? Are they like furry like beasts? Because then you can do something like that. So like this is gonna sound lame. I think we can come up with something better. But if you're primarily hunting dragons, you can say Dragons Union. You know, something like kind of poetic.
Yeah, I get
like
what
that.
you mean. Like I like the idea of you going out to hunt big monsters, right? Something that like is going to end up with big monster hunting, similar to like a God Eater, a Monster Hunter. What's that free to play one?
Dauntless.
Yeah, something around there. I like the action of the right? Monster Hunter, God Eater.
All right, how about this? How about you sit on that for a second and we talk about the other thing? Give you a little bit of time to stew.
Yeah,
so,
Beautiful Joe. What was the action experience or something?
I was looking at I was like thinking of words that rhyme with action, and I think Beautiful Joe Action Attraction sounds like, because it's like a movie is an attraction. It's like something you go and experience.
And it also leverages in that, like, you know, Beautiful Joe is a play on the word of Beautiful Joe. Like, you know, he's the kind of character that, like, everywhere he runs, rose petals follow. His whole cape is made of little rose petals.
God, that's so cool.
Beautiful Joe Action Attraction has that level of, like, flirtiness that I think really just nails it right on the head.
Dude, fuck yeah. Okay, so Beautiful Joe Action Attraction launching for the SUCCBOX X. So now we need to come up with something union. Like, I mean, you could just no, you need to have like some sort of fantasy word in there. Holy shit. AJ, working class, because there's different classes.
Holy fuck, working class is so good.
You like that one?
I do.
Holy shit. Okay, so we got working class and Beautiful Joe action attraction coming for the SUCCBOX 20 something.
20XX, the same year that Mega Man is in torment forever. Like we did it. We did two video games.
Hold on. Because we missed it last week. Let's look at our Discord. Let's find some bosses. Like, these could be mini bosses that you find in the levels on the way to the action heroes and Beautiful Joe. Or these could be like, maybe these are some of the NPCs that you might meet in the area. I don't want to be too
specific. Boss and I'll pick a boss.
Okay.
I have one.
I have one too, but she's not a boss. I just think she's a fun personality to have around.
Zentrica suggests a swarm of very carnivorous butterflies.
Oh,
I love this idea that like one of the beasts that you have to go out and hunt is just like a swarm of bugs. And what does that mean, right? What kind of gear would you need to use? Perhaps the swarm of butterflies is something where like, if you go in with large sweeping attacks, then every tick of those butterflies is going to damage your like whole gauge, and you'll need to get the whole sword replaced almost immediately. That's the kind of like boss fight that you go in thinking to yourself, I need to make sure that I'm carrying 4 swords, because if I'm not, I'm going to go into this raid boss
weak to fire
because a sword.
Weak to fire because it has to be like a proximity sort of attack. So it'll be like bow guns that have like explosions. With a couple
like spellcasters. Of course, spellcasting is its own system because you have to go in and train, and and practicing for spells takes up the time that you can work to do jobs. Spellcasting is incredibly powerful, but the amount of time that it takes to prep it, it's so difficult. You know, the week before a raid, whoever you have as your spellcaster for your raid team, they're probably not even doing a job. You're just going to be like, okay, for this week, you need to make sure that you're in there prepping your spell slots for this raid this week.
Okay, fuck yeah. Okay, sweet. That's rad. That's a great boss battle. Because it's like, there's like something really beautiful about that. Because like, I'm picturing like the fighting pit, you know, like all bosses have like that fighting area. It's just, it's just a forest of cherry blossoms around you, but you're just in the open field of like purple grass, and you just like see this horde of butterflies flying as like the cherry blossoms are going through the air and stuff like that.
I'm imagining a battle arena that looks kind of like the swamp in Dark Souls 1. A lot of green trees that you kind of like have to dodge around. Those butterflies are going to be coming around those trees to get at you.
Fuck, that's rad, actually. So you just like, you have to go to, that's cool, because like what I'm picturing is like you're surrounded by this decrepit, gross swamp, but there's just this beautiful collection of butterflies. Like, they're beautiful to look at. They look like they're floating like this flower
incredible
petals.
Pink, neon, shimmering. A couple of them are blue to just like kind of accent a couple of them.
And just
maybe the blue butterflies
are
surrounded by a bunch of little pink butterflies. Like, these things look like they stand out, not because they're poisonous, but because they're like the apex predator of this area.
God, that's so fucking cool, actually. Okay. This one's not a boss, but I think it would be really, really fun to integrate into action attraction. Gazer suggests Kiki, but she has a knife. And for those that don't know, Kiki is like from a Studio Ghibli movie, Kiki's Delivery Service.
I was about to ask of the delivery service.
Yes. And you know what she's delivering in this game? She gives you all
hurt.
She's
delivering the hurt.
No, she gives you like your in-level buffs. So it'll be like, you know, like in Hades where you just suddenly run into Charon and you could just buy a buff middle of the level. You can just run into Kiki and she's like, hey, check out what I got in my picnic basket. And it's just like, she like a rusty knife, which gives you like, but actually no, it's all of the power-ups she has to give you are movie-inspired things. Like, hey, here's a film reel that allows you to slow-mo time for an extra second. Here is a zoom lens that allows you to like punch in even faster, or like do something, you know, like zoom out even faster. Something along those lines.
The reoccurring shopkeep character, just like a reoccurring character that jumps into all these movies. She's flying around all of these
because she's in a movie herself, and she does have one of the biggest kill counts,
or whatever that place is called.
She does have one of the biggest kill counts in anime movie history, if I'm correct.
Kiki? Yeah, well, we don't talk much about Kiki's delivery service to deliver the hurt.
Neither does the town that she, you know, I don't know, melted.
She did laser an entire town with her cool powers.
So, and she's just chilling out on. I'm picturing Kiki just like chilling out on her broom and just has like she's just like flipping like a butterfly knife and just like chilling, just like fucking just punk rock Kiki.
She has an undercut now, and she
has an undercut. Hell yeah, dude.
And Beautiful Joe meets her for the first time, and he's like, "Cowabunga, you're scary as hell."
That's right. The Beautiful Joe series.
And then he says, "Catch you around," and then he dabs.
Fucking Christ. Beautiful Joe would be the type to just dab out of nowhere.
He does.
Anytime he uses one of her power-ups, he dabs.
Isn't his pose a dab?
Oh, fuck. Well, yeah, I thought it was a reference to, was it a reference to Dragon Ball? Because they Dragon Ball and they dab too when they're doing the fusion sequence.
No, it's a reference to like all those like Super Sentai types of like Power Rangers, Kamen Rider type things. He's a parody on that character.
That's true. Hell yeah. Hey, dude.
But he does have the coolest transformation catchphrases of all time.
What is it?
Henshin a go-go, baby.
Henshin a go-go, baby. Fuck. Dude, Beautiful Joe is just such an awesome fucking character. We need to sit down and play those games. But Nintendo Switch Remaster when, man?
Now you're asking the right questions.
All right, we ready
We've
to go to patch
gotten one
notes?
of our video game remaster re-release wishes granted, and now we can move on to the next one. Thank you so much for Scott Pilgrim coming back. Now give me another. Delicious.
AJ,
one.
You know what I dream of? I dream of with the Spiritual Suck podcast. It gets big enough
every time we say
actually...
a video game should come back, it comes back. Bring me Beautiful Joe, give me Billy Hatcher.
God fucking Christ, we could actually weaponize our audience.
I've discovered I have this power in the universe, and I'm prepared to use it for more good.
All right, let's go to patch notes, friend. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Patch Notes. AJ, next month is going to be a really big deal, huh?
Oh, fuck, it's November next month, isn't it?
It is November next. Actually, no, it's going to be 2 months from now. October is next month.
Okay, that means it's time to really get our asses in gear and make sure that we're all registered to vote.
Yep. Register to vote by the end of this month, and I think everything should get to you on time
Everything should get to you on time if you register to vote very, very soon. Registration deadlines are coming up for a couple of places. I know that it's coming up pretty soon for California especially.
Yep.
Make sure that you go out and register.
Yes. We are in a pandemic, so like doing things by mail, I think, is the safest way of doing it. But also, I think this is one of those situations where going out and voting in person, I think that's just like the surefire way of making sure your vote counts. Just do what you feel comfortable with, but just make sure you vote, man. Like, this is a really big one, and we all got to do our part for it.
Even if you are already registered, go ahead and check out votesaveamerica.com just to double check that you're registered. Make sure that double check if there's any other ways that you can help out. There's going to be a huge election, and we need to make sure that we're all doing our part.
Hell yeah! All right, everybody. Thank you for chicking out with us. All right, everybody.
Thank you for chicking out with us.
Thank you for chilling out with us.
This has been another banger episode, if I do say so myself.
Hell yeah, dude. Now we have consoles. We have our own console. The KFC console did not work out well for us, but this one will.
Well, the problem was that people kept on trying to the sauces leaked so much worse than we were expecting.
Yeah, it did fry a lot of, it fried the chicken as well as the games, so.
Yeah, it really just gunked up the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I'm certain that the SUCCBOX series experience and the Xbox and the SUCCBOX series social. Big ups to you and I both for fucking that up every single time. I'm a huge fan of it. As always, I've been your host, AJ Hart. Our intro and outro music is Cheap Shop by Anamanaguchi.
And I've been your other host, Blake Rea.
This has been Spiritual Successor, and these are cool games
that should not be made.